Hi there, my name's Michelle and I'm an academic advisor in the Student Success Center here at Missouri Western. And the presentation that you'll be watching today is on stress management. The goal of the presentation is to help you to develop your own personalized approach to stress management. So today we'll be learning what stress is, we'll begin to recognize the signs and symptoms of stress, we'll develop a plan for balancing life's demands, and we'll discuss some specific stress reduction and relaxation techniques that you can use. Okay, so what is stress? Basically, stress occurs whenever there's a mismatch between the demands that are placed on us and the resources we have. Those resources could be anything from time and money to emotional reserves and patience. Any time we see a mismatch between those things, we can call that stress. Stress triggers the autonomic nervous system. When you're under stress, you're basically in the fight or flight mode. And so in small doses, stress is actually very good for us. Fight or flight mode has a very important survival evolutionary function within our bodies. But when we're exposed to stress for prolonged periods of time, we don't get a break from that stress, and the stress continues to build and build. That's when we'll see problems with everything from psychological and emotional health to actual physiological diseases that can develop over years of high stress. So let's talk a little bit about the physical symptoms of stress. On this slide, there are just everything from chronic muscle tension and things like that. And a lot of us will notice when we're stressed, maybe we have stress or strain in our shoulders or neck. Chest pain can be associated with high stress. Even cold sore outbreaks, those can sometimes happen when we're under stress. There are also behaviors that could be associated with stress, especially things like having trouble sleeping. Any of you who've ever been under a prolonged period of stress know that it's hard to sleep when you're feeling that way. And then things like forgetting things, misplacing things, those types of things tend to happen when we're stressed as well. The psychological and emotional signs of stress include everything from just feeling worried, perhaps a feeling of apathy. Sometimes we get so stressed that it's almost like I just don't care anymore. You might feel irritable or be easily annoyed. Moving on, we'll talk about how to develop a plan for balancing life's demands. So the first step in developing this plan is to sort of decide what's important for you. Each of us plays many roles in our lives. Students, perhaps we're a parent, or we have some other role in our family. Perhaps you're an artist or an athlete. And so of all the roles that you play, one of the first things that I would recommend in developing your plan for approaching stress management is to prioritize your roles and the things that you need to do when you're thinking about your place in each of these roles. So understanding what's demanded of you, and also prioritizing those things so that you can sort of rank what's most important to you and what are some of the things that are lower on the list that you might be stressing about, and when you really prioritize, you think, well, these things aren't all that important to me. Maybe I shouldn't be devoting so much of my time and energy to these things. So that's one of the goals of prioritizing all those many roles that you have in your life. And so next, after you've sort of prioritized what your goals are and what your roles are, you'll also want to think about how you can include regular physical exercise, mind-body focused activities, and meditation practice in your daily routine. It might be all of these things for you, might just be one or the other, but we know that there are physical symptoms that come along with stress, and there are psychological and emotional symptoms that happen when we are stressed. So if we can include in our everyday routine some preventative measures, exercise, meditation, yoga, things like that, we can avoid letting stress build to a point where it causes us emotional and physical issues. Okay, And something that's very important when it comes to developing this plan so that you can balance life's demands is, of course, planning your time. So I really encourage you to use a day planner, make lists of to-dos, another priority list where you're prioritizing the things that are most important to you are the things you're going to focus most of your energy on. And so that way you're not spending time sort of getting drudged down in the things that aren't going to make that big of an impact in your life or in your goals when you have those priorities and you've scheduled your time accordingly. So as you're starting to use your planner, your to-do lists, it might be a little bit different for you coming to college and being sort of responsible for the deadlines on your own. So I would really encourage you to sort of identify the due dates and schedule tests and quizzes that are going to be happening for you throughout the semester. Put those in your planner and then back up from there and make sort of milestone goals. You know, I'm going to have this many pages written for my report by this time, or I'm going to have the research done by this day. So you sort of set yourself some mini goals so that you don't have it all piling up on you at the very end and making you feel out, like there's too much to do and really stressing you out. As you're scheduling and using your planner, I would encourage you also to schedule those desired activities. Actually take a time in your day and schedule your yoga practice, schedule your meditation, schedule your walk, schedule just time to talk with friends, whatever it is that's important for you that can help you to make sure you're getting some of the things that you desire that fulfill you throughout your days and weeks. Don't forget, as you're making your schedule, to allow yourself at least 7 hours of sleep every night. We know that stress contributes to lack of sleep. Well, lack of sleep also contributes to stress. So being proactive and planning ahead to make sure that your days, your routines, your schedules allow you to get enough sleep every night. I would also encourage you to consider sort of setting aside specific blocks of time for maybe social media usage or TV watching or other types of entertainment, because that can be an issue sometimes when you're, kind of focused on the fun and the social involvement and things like that. And then lastly, if it's appropriate for you, is there an opportunity to delegate? Are there some things that you are taking on your plate that you don't necessarily have to be responsible for? Is there someone else who might be better at those things? And moving on from there, we're going to talk next about some specific stress reduction and relaxation techniques. Relaxation techniques quickly and effectively break that cycle of stress. I'm stressed, my heart's pounding, I'm breathing short, that's causing me to feel more stressed, and now I'm feeling anxious and worried, and that's causing, and it sort of just feeds itself. So if you can step back from there and give your body permission to be relaxed, to let go of some of the stress, you give your nervous system, your autonomic nervous system, permission to move out of that emergency fight or flight mode and back into its normal functions, which are more rest and digest. All the organ functions that are going on that we don't have to think about, breathe, heartbeat, those kinds of things. When you're in your normal state and you're not highly stressed, that's what your autonomic nervous system is focused on. And so quick relaxation generally is most effective if you can find a quiet place to do it, if you can sit or lie down in a comfortable position, and of course loosen any tight clothing, perhaps close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Most of these techniques I'm going to talk about are sort of an abbreviated version of a more intense or a larger relaxation technique. So I'll mention what those techniques are in case you'd like to do some research and learn a little bit more about the full technique. So with relaxing muscle tension, the goal is basically to just take inventory of your body, moving through your body piece by piece, thinking about where the tension is and giving yourself permission to let go of it. Another very effective and very simple relaxation technique is just breathing deeply and breathing slowly. So we know stress, that state, you got that short breath, that shallow breath, and it's an automatic signal to your body to get out of that state if you can simply focus on your breath, Slow your breath down. Breathe deeply, breathe slowly. There's also a specific idea here, the 10 candles idea, using each breath to blow out the flames on the imaginary candles that you imagine. And as you get to that 10th one, you're in your deepest state of relaxation. Another technique is to repeat a pleasing word. This is the idea behind this relaxation technique. It's particularly effective for breaking into sort of maybe obsessive thoughts that are bothering you that you can't seem to get out of your mind. If you can practice this technique where you find a word, a phrase, a sound that means something to you and just repeat that to yourself. It basically doesn't allow you to think about all those nagging thoughts that might be bothering you, and you focus instead on the one word or phrase or sound that you're making. Next is the heavy and warm exercise. You'll see some little statements here. You're going to say these to yourself as you focus on relaxation. My arms are heavy and warm. My legs are heavy and warm. We actually have lots of evidence that verifies our mind does have an effect on our body temperature, our respiration rate, our heart rate. Just through focusing your mental energy in these areas, you can begin to give your body that permission to calm and relax. Visualization is another great way to tap into that mind-body connection, and it's pretty simple. You just imagine that place that means the most to you. Maybe it's on the beach, maybe it's in the park, whatever it is to you. And more than just sort of thinking about the sights, think about the whole picture. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? If you're by the ocean, do you hear the waves on the sand? If you're in the park, do you hear the birds in the trees? Almost sort of asking yourself those questions to really get the whole picture with all your senses as you immerse yourself into the special place for you, and visualize that and allow yourself to just relax. Okay, some other ideas. Relaxation techniques are a great way to reduce stress. Other stress reduction techniques include using uplifts. These are basically just defined as things that are pleasurable for you, that are completely your own desires, your own maybe goals in life. And if you can identify maybe an uplift that refreshes you physically, or maybe you like to do something for others that gives you a feeling of being renewed and refreshed. Uplifts might be something that you do physically. It might be something you do relationally. Maybe when you're stressed, you have a hard time staying connected to your friends and family. So maybe an uplift you would plan for yourself would be, time with your friends, time having a conversation with a friend, writing a letter to a friend. So whatever area they might be, appreciation, creative, indulgent, physical, relationship, or spiritual uplifts, whatever fits best for you, really plan what that means to you and give yourself permission to do that. Maybe your reward for finishing your paper is that you have your favorite dessert. So whatever your uplift might be for you, kind of identify what that is and find ways that you can fit that in to your days or your weeks to give you a little break from stress. Another thing that has been really helpful for people who are stressed is journaling. Writing about what you're going through, writing about what your goals are, writing about what's bothering you. Keep this in a private place. Give yourself permission to write whatever comes to mind. And as you begin journaling, you might challenge yourself to maybe answer a specific question with your journal writings. But, basically you don't have to give yourself a lot of rules for journaling. It just is what you need to do. You'd spend your time journaling doing that. Okay, so as we work through this program today, we identified what stress is. I gave you some ways that you can recognize the signs and symptoms of stress within you, And we talk through some ways to develop a personal plan for balancing all of life's many demands. And I would encourage you to continue the regular practice of specific stress reduction techniques and keep that as part of your daily activities. So if you have any questions or need more information, you can contact the Student Success Office. We're in Eder Hall, room 209. You could also give us a call or shoot us an email. And Student Success Office is also on social media, so you can follow us there. Thank you.